Hello, Nikolai Markovich from echolaketech, echolaketech.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use CodeBubble's plugin for SendGrid. And this is their latest version as of today's date. It's version 6.2.6. And so in this video, I'll show you how to set up a template and also show you how to put attachments in the email. So I'm just going to quickly do a demo here and type in email address. Okay, and just do this. Now in your apps you can certainly have dynamic fields for particular user accounts and so forth, but just for this demo I'm going to have these simple inputs, and I have a multi file upload here, so I'm going to upload just 2 files. And one thing to note in this plugin, and I'll show you when we get into the design in a moment, but this plugin only allows 3 files to be uploaded. So then we'll do a send, and just to save time, I've actually got a email already created. And so basically you've got the email address here, the subject header, who it's sent to, and CC, and then the main body of the message here. So I've kind of color-coded some of this to make it a little easier to see some of the dynamic fields. So Nikolai here, that's a dynamic value, and the date here is also a dynamic value. Added this line here so you could see you can actually, in the email, you can add the capability to create the opportunity to send an email. I've also got a link here so that you can show links to sites. So for instance, there's a link to my YouTube channel. And I also have another example that you can put into the SendGrid template, is the ability to send a custom email. So you'll notice on this one here, I've actually got a custom subject line here and a custom message in the body. Just to kind of contrast that to this earlier one here, this is just basically no subject and no content to it. So I'll show you how to set that up so you can have a custom message that your users can use. I also have an image that I put in here, and then also the two attachments. So let's go over into the design. And the first thing, I'm actually going to jump over to SendGrid. So you do need a SendGrid account. It's pretty straightforward to set that up. And when you do have it set up, you are going to want to come down to settings and API keys. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get an API key here. And so when you get that API key, you come over and you need to set up the plugin. So within your Bubble app, go and add plugins, and then enter or add SendGrid. And then you'll get this field here, or this page here. And what you want to do is for API key and API key dev, from the prior page where you copied the API key, you want to insert it into the fields here. And I've got them blocked out for my own account. But again, API key dev, just copy and paste from your SendGrid account and put those in here. Again, you'll notice I'm at 6.2.6. And let's get into the design here. So again, for the purposes of this demo, I just had some inputs here, one for the email subject line, one for the email address, and then one for entering name. So just one thing to point out, that this is a text input, and this is an email input, so that the user will correctly put in an email format, and then this is a text. And just to kind of quickly show here, so For the inputs, it's simply this input form over here. And again, to change it to email to text. So that's all I did for setting these up. Fairly basic. And then similarly for the text, I just went in and added a couple of text fields here and just type in, text here. Okay, so that's all I did for these 3 fields here. I've got a button, and in a moment I'll walk through the workflow for the button. But for buttons, again, come over here to Visual Elements, click on Button, you can change the size, and then send email, just like that. Okay, and that's all I did. All the other default values for colors and so forth, I left those all alone. And then over here, I've got multi-file loader A. So multi-file loader is right here. So down at the bottom, multi-file uploader. And again, just kind of multi-file uploader, just like that. So this one, I guess I did maybe change the background color just so it sticks out a little bit better. But so to just do that, background style, flat color, and then I just picked this value here. And that's all I did. Now over here, just for kind of diagnostics or visual cue, what I did for this text field, again, coming over here, just grab the text field. So I have multi-file loaders A value and count. Okay, so what I wanted to do is keep track of the number of files that I was uploading. And then over here, multi-file loader A's value, item number 1, file name. So again, I need to pick individual files as they get uploaded. Bubble will automatically assign them a number. And so I know that there's going to be 3 of them. So I want to know what the file names for each one of those are. All right, so like if I come back over here, you can see these are the file names. This is the count, 2 files. I've got the file name of the 2 files. Okay, and then I just basically repeated that through. Let me just go over here and quickly show you. So to do this, insert dynamic data, and I'm going to scroll down, multi-file loader A, value, and then for the first one, I just wanted to do count. Okay, and then I'm just going to hit a return to give it a line space. Insert, value, and then what I'm going to do here is item number, and then I'm going to type in 1, and then file name, just like that. Okay, so again, item number 1, file name, item number 1, file name. Now just do one more here. So file loader A, value, and then you'll see this little more. Click on the more, scroll down, item number, and then type in 2. And you get this more again. Click on that, file name. Now I'm going to go to Rich Text Editor here. And you'll see how these are all on the same line here and so forth. So what you want to do is you want to come over here, so multi-file loader A's value, count, and then between the T and the M here, just hit return, and then item number 1, file name, like that. And that way when the text field comes up, it'll look cleaner. So I'm just going to show you what I have over here. So you can see I've actually put a space between them. And that way they're not all on the same line, it's just easier to read. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. So for this page, that's basically all that's set up. Input fields, a button, and I'll get to the workflow in a moment here. Got the multi-file loader input, and then the text field just to show the name of the files that are being loaded that will be in the attached email, and just the count, the number of files as well. Now, as I mentioned, SendGrid only allows 3 files to be attached. So since I'm keeping track of the count of the files over here, I could actually go and put some logic in here, a conditional, and I didn't do it in the demo, but I could do a conditional such that when this file loader's value count, okay, is less than 4, then this input is disabled. So I don't have this clicked off. If I had it clicked off, it would disable it, but I don't. All right, so then I could go and paste the condition. So I'm on my Mac here, it's 2 fingers on the touchpad, or right click if you're on a PC. And if I go is greater than or equal to 4, then I disable it. So yeah, I just basically copied, again, right click or two fingers on the track pad here, copy condition, and then I just go down in some space over here. Anywhere over here is fine. And I do the same thing, right click, and then I do paste condition, and I can automatically paste it. Saves a little bit of time. So remove that. So okay, this all this is going to do is if there is less than 4 files, then this input file uploader is going to be available to have uploads. And if it's greater than or equal to 4, it's going to disable it. Okay. So yeah, that is that. And let's go over to the workflow. So for the workflow, I actually just put this, I don't really need this field. This was actually from another demo that I was playing around with. All this does is for the current user, it puts current date and time for their date. But this is the important step here. Okay, so what we have here is the SendGrid send email plug step, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you. So you want to go to plugins, so add an action, plugins, and SendGrid email. So this is what you want to choose here. Okay, and it comes up as a default for dynamic. For older accounts, you might have some legacy templates, but you want to choose, make sure you choose dynamic. And template ID, so I'm going to go over to SendGrid in a moment, but you'll want to copy this template ID for the template that you were going to create in SendGrid. And then for the subject, input the input value for the for this field here. So that value from, this could be a dynamic field here. I just typed this in. From email address, again, I just typed this in. It could be a dynamic value. To the to email address. Okay, so this is the input type email address. So let me just kind of show you here. So input type email address value, just like that. I'm going to undo that. And again, this is the input from here. Input type email address. Input type email address is value. Okay, so you get some choices here. You want to pick the value, like that. CC, that's optional. Again, could be dynamic. I typed that in. BCC, reply emails, so forth. So this is an important part here, substitution tags. So in the past, earlier versions of this plugin and with SendGrid, they used a VAR syntax, and with this newer version, you actually need to create substitution tags. So these names here are important. You will create those names, and I'll just create one here. So I'll just call it test, and then you can assign it whatever value that you want. So like current email, current user's email, for instance. Okay, so I just type this in, and you'll need to do the same thing for your template. I'm just going to delete it here for a moment. So I've got 3 of them here: name, date, and email. So the name again came from that input field. Current date and time is basically, if you scroll down at the bottom here, and current date and time. And then input email addresses value as well. And the other thing that's on here is these attachments. So again, there's 3 attachments you can put into here: attachment 1, attachment 2, and attachment 3. And there's 2 parts to the attachments. There's the file name and the file itself. So multi-file uploader A, again, just to quickly come over here. So this is multi-file loader uploader A. And then we want the value, and then item number 1, and then the file name. Okay, so if we recall from the text field on the previous page, I had listed the 3 different or the 2 different items at the time. But so you want to be able to go, you want to go in here and pick the right file name. Okay, so file 1, 2, and 3. And I'll just kind of quickly replicate this. So multi files A, value, and then you get the more here, item number, and type in on your keyboard 1. You'll get another more, and file name. So that's all you do for that field. On this next one here, so this is the one for the attachment, multi-file loader A value, item number 1 again, encoded in base 64. All right, so I'm just going to click on Show Documentation here, because with this plugin, they tell you that it has to be base 64. So it must be base 64 encoded string. To convert file to base 64, use bubbles encoded in base 64 module. Required if sending an attachment. So this is an important thing to note here, and I'll just walk through. Multi-file loaders A, value, you get the more, click on more, and then item number is 1, type that on the keyboard, get more again, and then down at the bottom, encoded in base 64. So just choose that, and you're all set. Okay, and it's the same for these other 2. All right. The rest of these are default values. I'm not going to get too in depth on how to the different things you can do with SendGrid. I just want to show the basics on how to set it up so you can send emails in your Bubble app. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to Templates, Transactional, and I've got this template already created. So you can see here D-05, on and on and on, 6B. So if I come over here, D0526, 6B. So you want to go and copy your demo template. Okay, just kind of highlight it and copy that and put it into template ID here. Now what we're going to do is come over here. So you see this cogwheel, click on the down arrow, and then we're going to go to Edit. Okay, so I've already got this created. And you'll see here subject. So SendGrid uses these curly brackets, so it's important that you have 2 curly brackets on both sides. So you've got subject here, and actually it's over here where you actually type it in. Okay, so you want to come over here to email subject, curly brackets, and subject, and then hello name. And so this is that variable. I'm going to go back over to Bubble for a moment. And you can see name. So this name here is this name here. It is case sensitive, so if I did lowercase n here and I had capital N here, it wouldn't work. So make sure that you are it is case sensitive, so make sure that you have capital and lowercase as needed. So I've got that. I've also color coded this, and let me just show you. I made it blue. Come over here, click on that T, and you can change the color to whatever you want. One thing to note is that if you go and you just click on name here and you change the color like that, you're going to get an error. So the curly brackets in the name, or the variable here, you have to highlight everything and make it the same color. If you're to boldface and so forth, italicize, make sure that you've got everything together in the group. So dynamic date created, so this is again the date here. The email. All right, so for my YouTube channel, so I'm going to highlight this so you can see. There we go. And then come over here, and then you can see you get a choice of URL or email. So this is a URL, and then you just put in the URL address here. So that's how I got the YouTube channel in there. Now for send me an email, okay, highlight it, click on the chain here, see now this is an email. Now it gives you a different template to fill in, so contact@echolaketech.com, please add me to your email newsletter, and then down here you've got the message header as well. So you can go in and set up your email so that you can have a custom response from your users. So I'm just going to go over here for a moment. So again, this is what it looks like. Send me an email. I click on it, and there's the template that automatically comes up. So it's a nice feature to have. The other thing is I added an image in here. So that's simply clicking on this icon here to add an image. The one thing I will note is when you're creating a template, the image when you first put it in may look really large or really small. You can go and adjust the size of it here. So if I went to like make this 150 and made this 100, you can see how the size changed on it. So something to be aware of. So 250 and 125 and save image. Okay. The other thing to be aware of is you want to save template. Okay, so sometimes when you're editing away, it isn't always there. You just want to make sure that you save the template. Okay. That's basically a quick overview of how to edit the template within SendGrid. So it takes a little bit of trial and error, testing it out, seeing what works for you and your app, but that's how you basically set up the template. It is important, again, you need this ID number, including the D dash in front here, and you do need to put that in for where are we here? Up at the top for the template ID. And that is basically how you set up the SendGrid plugin for your Bubble app, and also to include the ability to attach files. And that is about it for this demo. If I would be curious if anybody does do attachments and links, leave me a note in the comments section below, because I'm just curious to see how many users are thinking about putting attachments or links within their email template, or if both. If you enjoyed this video, I do have more coming, and if you subscribe in the button lower right hand corner of the video, then you'll be notified by YouTube of new videos as they become available. Thank you.